nails on the ground. I don't care what, bare feet on the ground. It's you're gonna have to go into housing projects. You're gonna have to, in low income communities. Because I guarantee you, I don't care if you live in St. Paul or you live in Harlem. I don't care where you live. I guarantee you, if you look at a low-income community, you're going to see a low voter registration district. I guarantee you. If you go into an upscale community, I don't care if it's Grosse Pointe, Michigan, or Beverly Hills, California, you're going to find high voter registration. And calling a talk show and just wanting to be heard and getting pissed at me because I'm trying to tell you. I'm not telling you something I haven't done. Now, if you notice, at best you get lip service with voter registration, with candidates, Republican and Democrats. But here's where they're getting us. See, they're in their churches registering people to vote. These evangelicals, they're registering people to vote. Hey, pass the plate, and here's the voter registration form. It's a matter of organization. Norm from New York. You're on with Madison, first-time caller.
Good morning, Mr. Madison. To answer your question about, what do I think went wrong with Kamala Harris's campaign since she gave her first speech, I would say that the problem is you have to suck the air out of the room if you're a nominee now. If you really think about it, during Obama's rise to the presidency, they were talking about him every single day. Just about every single place you turn, they're talking about him.
Well, but why? Why were they talking about him?
Well, you had Reverend Wright and the church. Then you had, where did he come from? They're talking about Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Then on top of that, most people thought Hillary would be the presumptive nominee.
Right, I remember that, yeah.
So basically, we already knew back then there was going to be a Democrat president because Bush's term was a disaster that ended in a disaster. But then when you had Trump running, Trump sucked the air out of the media simply by saying outrageous things,
right,
and by getting as many people to support him as possible. So my problem with Kamala Harris is, and I had high hopes for her, my problem was I stopped hearing from her. I stopped hearing about her. I stopped hearing – they talked about her record as a prosecutor, and I don't think she came back at them strong enough again with that. But if you really look at the Democrat front runners right now, all they're basically saying, Elizabeth Warren and Sanders, they're doing exactly what they should do. They're talking about three things: student loan help or reform. The second thing they're talking about is housing inaffordability. And then the third thing they're talking about is one is student loan, housing, and then the third one is
medical
care.
Right
on.
Medical care.
Medical health care.
Health care, yes.
And if you stick to just those three, and you give the people, you explain to the people, listen, the Republicans ain't giving you nothing, and all you got to do is back me. And I'll make sure, even if I have to take the money from Lockheed Martin and Boeing and the military, I can pay for these things. But they refuse to say it. So that's, the problem is they're afraid to say anything outrageous. Trump wasn't. They're afraid to say anything that rocks the boat. Trump wasn't. Trump was saying insane things. But these people, they're trying to play it safe. So the problem is the only people who rise to the top are the ones who have something to say that is responding to those three issues.
Yeah.
And if I was running right now, I'd be ahead in the polls because I know exactly what needs to be done. These people are not willing to fight like Trump fought. This guy was on television every single day.
Yeah.
It felt like he was having a rally every 5 minutes.
But it was a circus.
But it won.
I know
point.
It did.
Look,
I know it did. But the question is, now I hear you, and that's why I was listening very intensely to what you had to say. that was so unusual. That's why it caught everybody's attention. And I think now, and I'm just talking like you are right now, I think people said, okay, it's a circus, but when he becomes president, he'll change. He'll mature. He hasn't. And I don't know if I would be willing, I'm just speculating, to duplicate what Trump did 3 years ago. I don't know if it would, because I don't know if it would play. You know, he's the original BSer.
Well, for a Democrat candidate, when you're representing so many different types of people and you have a heterogeneous group, you can't simply say crazy things, which I totally understand.
Okay.
But if you stick to just those three issues,
I agree.
you'd be ahead.
Yeah.
Now,
I
with
think
Trump,
hey, wait, slow down. I got that. I understand that. I think it's more than three issues, but really what we're talking about, most folk aren't paying any attention.
You have to force them to pay attention by taking over the media.
I didn't finish my sentence.
Sure.
I didn't finish my sentence. Most people aren't paying attention to this impeachment. Agree?
I agree.
They're not. Let me tell you. I'll give you a classic example. My son, working in St. Louis, came home for the holidays. We talking politics. He said, "Dad, at my job, and I work where there are hundreds of people, they're not even talking about the impeachment. They don't care." He said there's one woman who sits there and watches listens on, with their headphones on or something, but that's it. And so in part, I'm agreeing with you. I agree with you. I just wouldn't limit. I think I know what you're saying. Those would be the top three issues: student debt, health insurance or medical care. And I'm sorry, what was the third one you had?
Oh, no, medical care, student loans, and the third one is housing and affordability.
And housing and affordability. I think you're right on target. I would not disagree with that. I think you're absolutely right. And they've got to come up with clever solutions. Here's the problem, and you're right on target. I can't disagree. It's the freaking news media apparatus. They don't talk about it. They don't. I've done campaigns. I've run my own campaign. You cannot force these news people, and I'm talking about folk who decide on what's going to be on the news. You can't. They just won't cover those things.
Mr. Madison, look at Obama's campaign.
They didn't. Man. They didn't. I looked at. What are you talking about? Look at Obama's campaign.
But I was going to tell you how. Look at what he did. He had white kids take over the internet, and he ran a campaign using them. And in Iowa, Hillary got decimated, and that place was 96% white.
Point well made. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
right. So take over YouTube. Take over Twitter. Take over Facebook, use these kids to do it. I would tell every one of these kids, guess what? You elect me, I will take the money right out of Boeing, Lockheed Martin, your student loan debt.
Now let me play the devil's advocate. Let me play the devil's advocate, Norm. Isn't that what Bernie Sanders did when he ran for the nomination and against Hillary?
And that's why he was so far ahead.
Wait. No, see, don't play with me, Norm. He didn't win.
He didn't win, but a lot of the older
he didn't win.
People,
excuse
me. A lot of the older white voters.
Norm, look, Norm, I'm an old football player. You win or lose. He lost. I mean, the loser can't get on television the next day. Oh, it was a great day. I almost won. He didn't win. Now, it might have been, but yeah, I will agree with you, Norm. I would agree with Norm. He gave him a run for the money.